What up, everybody? Hi, how are y'all doing? My name is Shelby Johnston, and I'm going to share with you guys how to apply your ILimeLife by Alcone. Oh, I used it. Sorry, it's not clean. How to apply your ILimeLife by Alcone foundation and concealer. I kind of walk you through tips and tricks on the concealer, color correcting, but and then the foundation application. I left out like my cream contouring and stuff like that because we're gonna do a lot more in-depth, shorter, to the point kind of videos. So if you're interested, please keep watching, and I will see you here in a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna share with you how to apply your ILimeLife by Alcone foundation. Maybe in the last video that you watched from me, I showed you how to get color match and my recommendations. So now let me show you how to apply it. And I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. I got into a fight with my self-tanner. It's okay. We're all friends. You're gonna let me be, and you're not gonna tear me apart, okay? Next up, you always want to do your skincare as normal. Make sure your skin is extra moisturized, things like that, just like with any foundation. I do recommend allowing your skincare to sit in for about 30 minutes or so before applying your foundation, because it just helps the longevity of the wear. And then next up, you're going to want to prime your face. I use ILimeLife's First Base Makeup Primer Spray. Silicone based primers do not really work with our foundation and our concealer. Silicone and wax just kind of like slide around, and it will not adhere to your skin like you're wanting to. So please keep that in mind. If you're wanting something that's more of a pore filling type of a primer, I have found this one, which is called the Tula Brighten Up Smoothing Primer, and it's kind of like it's almost like a pore filling silicone kind of a primer without having actual silicone in it. And so that's what I really like that. But that's an option too. So I'm going to prime my face. And I'm going to try and keep this video as straight and to the point as possible. So next I'm going to conceal. I'm going to use my concealer right here, concealer number 3. I use that as my color correcting concealer. Depending on what I or another beauty guide has color matched you to will depend on the concealers that you have. Okay, so when it comes to applying your tools, the best tools you can use is your finger. The warmth from your finger can really activate and help warm up the foundation and the concealer. It can also allow it to show up more pigmented, or you can use a brush or ILimeLife's beauty sponge. I'm going to walk you through how I use different tools for different techniques. So if I'm going to do my concealer, I kind of go between different brushes. It kind of depends on the look. This type of a brush is very, very dense, and the bristles are really firm, so it's going to give you high coverage, high pigmentation. This brush, which is brush number 19 from ILimeLife, is a little bit fluffier, it's softer, and it's going to give you more of a diffused look, so keep that in mind. So this is a Morphe M173 brush, and I'm going to focus this concealer right here in my dark circles, and I kind of use it as a thin layer all over my skin, like anywhere where I have discoloration. And so as you can see, this is my concealer and then no concealer. For the most part, my skin is relatively even. I did do some self-tanner last night, so that might be why some of my coloration might look a little off to you. But like I have dark circles right here. My recommendation, if you're going to use a concealer as color correcting, do it underneath of your foundation. That way your foundation will obviously match your body, your neck, your face, depending on what we color matched you to. That way it will blend all well, everything. So if you have like a dark spot, or if you have acne, color correct it and then apply your foundation over top of it. So now that I have gone in, and this is beautiful coverage. This is perfect coverage for me. I love this. If you're somebody who's a makeup minimalist, our concealer could be just enough for you. And I could walk out the door like this, and it would look flawless throughout the day. I really like it. Now me personally, I'm a fuller coverage kind of a gal, so I prefer to go in with foundation. So let me talk to you guys about brushes. I also use brush number 19, not only for concealer, but also for foundation. Ease, it's just simpler, less brushes to have. I really like it because I can get in and be nice and detailed, and I love it. A brush like this from Morphe, this is a M444 brush. It's super dense, meaning this is going to give you high coverage. The denser the bristles, the more closer together you are, the higher the pigment you're going to get off of from your foundation. I have also used like a legit powder brush. This will give you a super diffused light wash kind of a makeup like finish. Our foundation and our concealers, I highly recommend going in and applying them in small thin layers, because it is super easy to go in and apply a lot and be like, oh my gosh, it looks cakey and things like that. It's not meant to be like that. It's so highly pigmented, so you want to go in with less layers. So I'm going to do one side of my face with a brush number 19, or we have brush number 17, which is our diffuser brush. This is a super popular brush for foundation. Mine's just really dirty, so I'm not going to use it, but that's a very popular brush for foundation. So I'm going to use one side of my face with brush number 19 and the other side with my blend. So when I do this, I'm going to go right into my foundation and I'm just going to swirl it up. Depending on how cool it is in your house, you may have to rub your finger across the top of it. It's wax, and so if it's super cold, it will not blend out as well. Please keep that in mind. Alright, so I'm just going to swirl this in circular motions. Okay, so I'm going to try and get nice and close. This is the finished look with just foundation. It's super quick and I love it. And so I did bring it down to my neck, and for the most part my skin looks flawless. This is just my concealer and my foundation. I didn't touch this area. So foundation, it looks like skin, it feels super lightweight, no foundation. So this side I'm going to use my Blenderful. Now, even if I use a brush to apply my foundation, I do tend to go in with a Blenderful and like just push all over to ensure that I blended it out so there's no brush strokes. Because no matter how good I am at blending, I still tend to have brush marks from my brush. So now if I'm going to use the Blenderful to apply my foundation, you can either use the pointy end and swipe like this and then press, or you can use the flat end. I'm going to use the pointy end, and so what I do is I just go swipe across the top of it and pick it up like that. And then I'm going to press it. Don't go in and start swiping. It will not give you the coverage that you're wanting. The Blenderful does give really high coverage. Okay, so now I have finished one side of my face with the Blenderful, the other side with my brush. Similar amounts of coverage. There is a higher pigmentation with the Blenderful side as opposed to the brush, and that's just because the makeup's not going to go, like, it won't soak into this sponge. This isn't a liquid to where it soaks up half of the product, whereas a brush, some of the product goes into the bristles, you lose a little bit of it, so please keep that in mind. So now I'm going to just even them out, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of my foundation and then just lightly blend over everything so it's the same amount of coverage. As you can see, I'm also pressing the product. I'm not swiping and I'm not pushing, and I'm not twisting. I'm pressing. I'm pushing it into my skin, and this allows it to just sit right on top of my skin and sit right where I want it without moving it around. Now, if you chose to get a concealer like I did that's darker, you can go in and cream contour, or if you chose to get a brightening concealer, I would now use this to brighten up the areas that you want to. I'm going to skip over this part because I want to do videos where it's focus on just cream contouring or just brightening or anything like that. So I'm gonna skip over that part and yeah. Gone in and I've used my my concealer number 6 as a cream contour because that's the second concealer I chose. And now I'm going to do a brief overview on how to set your makeup. It is going to be different based on your skin type and what you look for in your overall finish. If you are super dry, maybe just kind of applying a light layer of powder in the areas that if you get oily at all. Or if you're oily, I would highly recommend going in with a loose setting powder and applying a light layer over everything. We have a translucent setting powder that's pressed. A lot of people really love it. I prefer our colored powders, so let me show you that one. So this is one of our colored powders. This is in the shade, this is in color number 3. I am a olive, like when I'm self-tanned like I am right now, I'm an olive 3. And so I use powder number 3, or I could use powder number 4, and I use powder brush number 2, and I pick up quite a bit and then I press it. This is my favorite powder that we have. Now, if you are wearing a mask, if you're wearing for work and stuff like that, I would recommend using a loose powder and packing it on the areas where you would wear a mask, because of just to help with transfer. And that goes with almost any foundation, because ILimeLife's foundation kind of doesn't necessarily dry down to a matte finish like a liquid or anything like that. It dries down, it just conforms to your skin. Setting it is crucial for the longevity, and so I just do a light layer kind of everywhere. And I prefer the colored powders because they're very smoothing. They make my skin look very airbrushed, and I have dry skin. And there we go. And then from here I would go in with my bronzer or my blush. The last step I would do would be to set your face all over with one of our setting sprays after your blush, after your highlighter, after your bronzer, after all the extra stuff. Like, your final step should be to set your face with our setting spray. We have Time Setter, which is great for dry skin and mature skin, or we have another one called Oil Strike, which is great for anybody who has oily skin. The Time Setter actually helps retain moisture in your skin, and it leaves your skin like this really pretty dewy effect while extending the longevity of your makeup, whereas Oil Strike works with your body chemistry and your body temperature and will help you from actually producing oil throughout the day. So if you're oily, Oil Strike is going to be your friend, and then Time Setter is going to be your friend if you are dry skin. That is the overview on how I apply my ILimeLife by Alcone foundation. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you learned a few things if you've been struggling or been having questions, or maybe this has kind of tipped you over to wanting to try it. I will link below my color match video and my link if you are interested, or if you're reaching out from another beauty guide, please reach out to them if you have any questions or you're interested. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click the button below and subscribe, or if you're watching this on a different platform, hit the follow button. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys on my next video. Goodbye!